Heard of Q broadcast? It's taking the world by storm. People are cutting the cord to their high cable bills and moving away from streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and others for something better. Q broadcast. For just $60 a month, you'll get access to every channel you could ever want, including HBO, Cinemax, and Stars. And the best part? There are no contracts, no hidden fees, and you're free to cancel anytime. With Q Broadcast, you can enjoy streaming live TV, movies, and top series on up to 5 devices at once. Whether you're at home or on the go, Q Broadcast makes sure your entertainment is always at your fingertips. Imagine being able to watch all your favorite channels from anywhere, anytime, without any restrictions. We're talking about thousands of movies, hundreds of TV series, and a huge library of live channels, all in one place. And don't forget video on demand and pay-per-view events. Those are included at no extra cost, so you'll never miss a big event again. Now, take a second and think about your current cable bill. You're probably paying anywhere between $100 and $300 every month, locked into long-term contracts and hit with surprise rate increases. With Q Broadcast, that's a thing of the past. It's just $60 a month. No contracts, no extra fees, no hidden costs, and no price hikes. Why juggle multiple subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, and cable when Q Broadcast gives you everything you need in one convenient package? People everywhere are switching to Q Broadcast, saving money and getting more content than ever before. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description and sign up for Q Broadcast today. Just $60 a month, no contracts, no hidden fees. It's time to take control of your entertainment and start streaming smarter.
We live in a world where men are told it's harmless. It's just entertainment. But let's stop lying to ourselves. Pornography destroys. It weakens your spirit. It dulls your drive. And it robs you of what real intimacy is supposed to be. Every click is a step away from the man you're supposed to be. We can't call ourselves leaders if we are slaves to a screen.
As someone that is prior service, I know all about discipline. And discipline isn't out there, it's within your mind. Porn rewires your brain, weakens your will, wrecks all of your relationships. It doesn't just stay on a screen, it invades your marriage, your confidence, and your actual purpose. As men, if we don't learn to discipline ourselves, we'll be ruled by our impulses. Now, it is time to stand up and take control before this silent war takes more than you're willing to lose.
Real men don't hide in the shadows of shame. We step up and we protect what's ours. We fight for our wives and kids, our own hearts. Twitter isn't just an app, it's a weapon. It's a tool used to break free and start living like the man that you're meant to be. The battle's here and it starts with you. You can stop living in shame and you can break free today.
Heard of Q Broadcast? It's taking the world by storm. People are cutting the cord to their high cable bills and moving away from streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and others for something better. Q Broadcast. For just $60 a month, you'll get access to every channel you could ever want, including HBO, Cinemax, and Stars. And the best part? There are no contracts, no hidden fees, and you're free to cancel anytime. With Q Broadcast, you can enjoy streaming live TV, movies, and top series on up to 5 devices at once. Whether you're at home or on the go, Q Broadcast makes sure your entertainment is always at your fingertips. Imagine being able to watch all your favorite channels from anywhere, anytime, without any restrictions. We're talking about thousands of movies, hundreds of TV series, and a huge library of live channels, all in one place. And don't forget video on demand and pay-per-view events. Those are included at no extra cost, so you'll never miss a big event again. Now, take a second and think about your current cable bill. You're probably paying anywhere between $100 and $300 every month, locked into long-term contracts.
Here at the Anomic Age, we know that these times of uncertainty are stressful. It is incumbent upon all of us to put our fears first and bow down to government tyranny. Gone are the days of freely leaving your home, working, and social interactions. In exchange for safety, we will trade liberty. At the Anomic Age, we understand. However, just in case you want to get off your knees and stop being a sniveling coward, check out the John Age Project at anomicage.com.
Meet Ann Morrissey, who is here with her daughter, Dareth. Dareth is 17 years old. Mrs. Morrissey, I don't have to tell you that most parents would be extremely depressed if their daughter came home one day looking like this. I assume that was your response: shock, anger, depression? What was it?
I was extremely angry. I really went bananas.
Yeah, how old was she when this happened?
Possibly 13, 14 years old.
We're talking like it's a disease, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah. How did she explain it to you, Mrs. Morrison?
there was very poor communication until we went into counseling. And it almost broke up our family. But through counseling and Serena, I can understand it better.
What do you understand?
That she feels like she doesn't want to be like everyone else. And she wants to be her own person. And through the dress code and her lifestyle, she's expressing this. It doesn't conform with our rules, but we're learning to cope, and it's a very, very difficult thing. Extremely difficult.
Dareth, let's let you talk for yourself. You're from Long Beach, California.
I just can't handle being like everybody else because that's what everybody else wants, you know. Just
Fallon, Real and Chevy.
Propagating truth in a world of lies. You are listening to the John Age Project.
Trust no one. Trust no one. Trust no one.
You found it. You're here. You're headlong down the runaway train that is the Anomic Age, and I am your host, John Age. Happy to be back with you once again in the dark side of the AM, hailing proudly from the coastal plains of the old North State. I'll be your tour guide this evening as we take a somewhat satirical journey down the path of murder, destruction, mayhem, and the extermination of human life on this planet. A forced march into obsolescence thrust upon us by a global Luciferian death cult of pedophiles. Check out anomicage.com if you've not already done so. Please like all the likes. Subscribe to all the subscriptions. PayPal.me/anomicage. Patreon.com/anomicage as well. Those are the best ways you can help me, help the show, help it all grow. You know how it goes. So if you're looking at your screen right now, if you're in the video version of the game, if you're watching at the Patriots Prayer podcast, thanks for tuning in. If you're one of my longtime minions of darkness in the Anomic Age, thank you also. But you're looking at the new and improved anomicage.com right there on your screen. Looks a little like this. I won't say all the bugs out, but we got a couple more bugs out today, and we're going to try to get the rest of them out before the weekend's out, but we'll just see. So it looks like this right about now. All kinds of changes, updates, and so forth and so on is right there at anomicage.com. You can find all things me. You can definitely easily sign up for the free newsletter, the iPhone app, the Android app. All that's available right there at anomicage.com. What else we got? We kind of streamlined things, folks, so you can go right up there and check out the episodes. You can look at the interviews with guests, of which we got a little bit more forthcoming. You can look at the solo videos, or what I like to call the information breakdown segments. That's exactly what you are a part of right now. The news links, the guest links, the contact me links, and the perhaps most importante, the donation links. So you can do all that in a bag of chips right there at anomicage.com. So check it out. Check it out. I'm very happy to have a new and improved webpage. It's been a while, probably long overdue. So check it out if you are so inclined. All right, enough of that preface for tonight's episode. All righty then. What are we going to talk about this evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Those of you who still identify as human, what we got to get into is, and I changed the title of this at the last minute. I was just kind of hoping to not get my channel taken down again by, the usual suspect, social media boobs. So rather than calling this episode "Israel is the Reason," kind of a play on the old Misfits song, "Texas is the reason that the president's dead." Texas is the reason. Yeah, that's a great classic by the Misfits. But Israel's the reason. That's really it, folks. Israel's the reason. Probably the reason that JFK is dead too, if you look into that a little bit. But you might have to do that on your own, because I ain't going to delve into that this evening. But nevertheless, Israel is the reason. Folks, that's the title of tonight's episode. Let's check it out. That's the graphic. I can assuredly say, probably once and only, this graphic is 110% not mine. I found this online and I thought it was quite apropos. Just sort of tightened up the arm a little bit. It was some kind of weird arm action going on. Probably the AI. But fear not, I non-AI'd it for you, so it looks a little bit better. But this is 100% not mine. So thanks to whatever AI-generated gobbledygook pulled this one out of there. Good job, AI. I got to say, looks pretty all right. So nevertheless, Israel is the reason. That's what we're going to talk about this evening. So much to get into. But really not so much, because we're going to talk about one topic virtually the whole damn show. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm just going to play this clip. You've probably already seen it if you've got eyes to see, ears to hear, and you've even got a light pulse on the social media landscape. I'm sure you've seen this one already, but I'm going to play it for you again. There's a couple of different versions. There was a version I really wanted to play, but I think it had like overdubbed sound. It was some chick sort of narrating it for you and gasping and guffawing all the falderall. But I decided, you know what? Let's just show the real deal. And that's what we're going to see. So let's check this out for a moment. I'll give you my 2 cents on it in just a minute. Here we go. Hit it. Alrighty then. So that was it. It was the now, I would suppose, somewhat infamous Senate Armed Services Committee meeting. They had the Commandant of the Marine Corps and all the other lovely people there. So that's what went down, I believe, a little less than 24 hours ago. And sadly, I hate to say it, but every time something dumb happens, well, not every time. I take that back. Oftentimes, when something dumb happens, it has something to do with the formerly great state of North Carolina. And this is no exception. So let me just delve into it for a moment here. The gentleman that you saw on your screen is Raleigh, North Carolina's own. Let's put him on the screen, folks. Everybody's got to see Brian McGinnis. Brian McGinnis. So this is the gentleman that was involved in that scuffle, kerfuffle, and otherwise assault, of course, by the police and even by a senator. I mean, this, you can't make up how fouled up this whole thing is. So I'm going to give you all the exposition in the world, and then I'll give you my take on it, okay? So we're just going to run through the old highlight reel. So this is him. This is the guy. He is indeed a former Marine, and he is indeed a firefighter in Raleigh, North Carolina, the state capital of North Carolina. Let's roll on down. So he is a member of the Green Party, and it gives it his kind of his abridged life story there. I am green because I know capitalist parties will never actually serve working class people. Well, that's 110% accurate. The Democrats and Republicans may market to working class people, but when push comes to shove, they will both fail working class people time and time again. Because of these things, I choose to do something by becoming a Green and running for U.S. Senate. So this guy is running for U.S. Senate in North Carolina. He's in Raleigh. He's a firefighter. He is a military veteran. So we know that much. So, you know, just to give you further exposition on this, because I know everybody's like wringing their hands and gnashing their teeth and just waiting with bated breath to just tackle this whole thing. And it's so exhausting. So let me give you the rest of it, folks, because there was a whole lot of this smearing as soon as this came out. You know, all the Trump cult members came out in full force, and they were claiming that this was stolen valor. They were claiming he got dishonorably discharged. I mean, I heard everything under the blipping sun here. So let me give you the full disclosure. I did not look up this guy's DD-214s to determine factually if he was honorably or dishonorably or whatever the bleep discharged. As far as I can tell, he was honorably discharged. I think he served his 4 years and is out. Let me show you some more here because I know everybody's dying for it. He has also, apparently he is married to a Muslim woman, and they seem to have, I think, 3, maybe 4 children. I could be mistaken. I ain't bringing his family or kids into it because it's not pertinent, germane, or in any way relevant to what went down. But just so you know, yeah, he's got a Muslim wife. She's not full beekeeper. She seems to just be like hoodie beekeeper. Okay. Just so you know. See, he's also been seen with his little black and white bandana, the kafuhu. And I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it. So kafuhu to you too. Okay. So he's got his little, often denoted as a representative of the Palestinians, kafuhu. Okay. So yeah, he's definitely more on the side of the Palestinians than the Israelis. He's apparently married to a Muslim woman. If that makes him a Muslim, I don't know. And I really don't give a flip, folks. It's, again, germane, relevant, and just completely who gives a flip. These are the things that everybody in the cult wants you to think about and focus on, okay? It's the forest for the trees moment, 8 days a week and twice on Sunday with these cult members. And I swear to God, it's just hilarious. So we got all that. Let's show you a little bit more because I know there's people keeping score. Put it up on the screen, can we? What the heck? Well, fibbly fobbly. Dadgum thing's trying to be weird. Watch this. Watch this, punk. There we go. By God, we'll show it that way. So in this one, what we got going on There we go. There we go. We'll pull it over there if we have to. It's okay. The Marine veteran Brian McGinnis removed from Senate hearing after protest over U.S. policy toward who, folks? Who could it be now? It's our greatest ally. That's, of course, who it's going to be. Come on. You already know who it is. Jeepers. Already know who it is, folks. So he had the nerve to go up there and question our involvement with the greatest allies, and now, it's all just terrible. Okie dokie. Let's see what we got now. I'm going to do some little just working on the fly here because this is driving me bonkers. Sorry, folks. This is probably upsetting no one but me, but it's okay. It's upsetting me, so I'm gonna deal with it. All right, let me just move this one all over. There we go. Right there. Boop. There we go. What else we got? GOP senator joins Capitol Police. In case you missed it, this is NBC News. The previous that we were looking at was military.com. Let's look at NBC News. GOP senator joins Capitol Police in attempt to forcibly remove anti-war protester. And this is Montana Republican Senator Tim Sheehy. If that's the right pronunciation, great. If it's not, then Sheehy on you. So that's Tim Sheehy. That's the guy that I would assert, attest, and otherwise denote broke this guy's arm. So the person in question got his arm broken. Yeah, remember that? So, the person in question there, though, Brian McGinnis, got his arm broken by U.S. Senator and Republican from Montana, Tim Sheehy. Isn't that wild? So Tim Sheehy broke this dude's arm. He's not stepping down. He's just going along to get along, and everything's just, in the land of make-believe. That's okay. That's just totally cool. So Tim Sheehy, I guess, is going to maintain his senatorial place in Montana. No big deal. So let's unpack it a little bit further because I know everybody wants to, and Lord knows so do I too. So on the one hand, you got the Marine there, McGinnis, coming in there and protesting our involvement in yet another bloody war for Israel. So that's the reason that this show is also entitled Israel is the Reason, because that's what he said in his opening little bit there. So that's really what's up, folks. Israel is the reason yet again, that we are going to war here. I mean, you've had Trump basically come out and say this. You had Rubio come out and say this, I think, about 48 hours ago. And it's all under the auspice, guys, and otherwise notion that if we don't strike them, then they might strike us, and they've got weapons of mass destruction, and blah, blah. It comes out today that the Pentagon actually said, no, they actually weren't going to strike us first. That was just a load of horse manure, just a kind of hustle, dodge, and a scam, the usual thing that we would expect from governments. Anyway, so back to the obvious here. You got the Marine here in McGinnis. You got old Tim Sheehy. He's a Navy SEAL. Oh, my gracious goodness sakes alive. We all better drop to our knees now. Man, that's the weird thing about the propaganda that everybody has absorbed throughout their lifetime. And please stop me if you've already heard this, but the movie studios actually have their own offices for the CIA, for the government propaganda dupes that have to go in there and approve, push through, give funding to, and always propaganda to whatever movie is going to be made that even mentions the United States military. So that's just part and parcel of the norm. In case you didn't already know that, that's the facts, Jack. This is nothing new under the sun. This has been going on for, 60 plus years, 70 years now, OSS into CIA and on and on and on. I mean, that's why you had the barrage of John Wayne movies, Sands of Iwo Jima, and They Were Expendable and all this malarkey. And then flash forward, I would say in the last 20 plus years, you've been inundated with like a whole new realm and a whole new level of straight up B to the S propaganda. You know, Black Hawk Down. I can't even think of any of them really because I haven't seen any of them. I see it for what it is. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what a complete load of horse feces. But you know, for the average people that don't know, now you know. You know, to quote a little Biggie, if you don't know, now you know. Yeah, it's all a kind of hustle and dodge, folks. But I say all that to say this. That's why the average person now thinks that like the Navy SEALs are the second coming, you know, under the United States Navy, because in every single television show, movie, sitcom, flipping podcast, interview series, they have been portrayed as, you know, like the second coming of special forces, whatever you want to call it, you know. And I'm not throwing shade at them and saying that they're not great soldiers and anything like that. I'm just saying like that's been the thrust of the propaganda that everybody's been taught for 20 plus odd years, you know. And you know, like ironically enough, I would say 80s and even maybe into the 90s, you know, the thrust was the Green Berets. That was kind of that was the thrust of that era. So, you know, just not to throw anybody or everybody under the bus. I'm not throwing shade at anybody in the armed forces or, oh my God, people are crying already. You know, I'm not throwing any shade on anybody. I'm just saying like, please know your propaganda. And that's what's been portrayed. I mean, I mentioned the cartoon G.I. Joe last time from the 80s. You know, this is straight like Pentagon sanctioned propaganda as well. You know, knowing is half the battle and G.I. Joe, you know, all that stuff. I mean, they should do a study. I'm sure they already have, you know, like the countless people in my generation that fell for that line and joined the military just because of G.I. Joe. I mean, come on. It's just obvious State Department sanctioned propaganda. But not here to go on that, Jack. We have covered the obvious quite aptly so far, I believe. We've covered McGinnis. We've covered Tim Sheehy. And we've covered the incident that went down, at least in the shallow end of the pool realm. But let's go a little deeper. Why not, shall we? Because we got to look into these people, look at them all. This guy in particular, Tim Sheehy, U.S. Senator, Republican from Montana. So he's Republican. So right away, you know, the cult members are already on their knees, bowing. You know, we're not worthy. We're not worthy. Like the old Wayne's World thing. So right away, the right cult members are just kissing his ring. He is a former Navy SEAL. He's a Republican. He's in Montana, and he's always right. I mean, this guy couldn't do anything wrong if you paid him. It's hard, folks. It's hard, I tell you. It's hard. Could not do anything wrong if you paid him, right? Right? Speaking of paychecks, take a look and check it out. You got 641-337. Yeah, that magic number, not the Schoolhouse Rock magic number, but that one, you know, well over $500,000. That's what this guy got. Yeah, spent by the pro-Israel lobby and their mega donors. Yeah, he was over there filming an AIPAC commercial in Israel a couple months back. I covered this on my social media. In case you missed it, I'm not going to pull it up right now. But this is the guy, folks. This is the guy. Yeah, this is the same guy that broke old McGinnis's arm then. Just so you know, that's him. Yeah, he couldn't do wrong if you paid him. I mean, maybe he could, because he did. You know. Oh, my gracious goodness sakes alive. But there's other sycophants out there that won't get it. So let's give you a little more. Why not, huh? This one's hilarious. I found this little meme online and I couldn't resist sharing it with you. Don't interfere with law enforcement. And we've got this lovely cartoon that shows the redcoats are coming. The redcoats are coming. Shows a little cartoon, you know, probably 1775-ish, when the British redcoats were all about the tyranny in the colonies. And they had the stamp tax, the tea tax, the township tax, and all that good stuff. They were taking people's munitions. They were just showing up in your little homestead and having their way with your family. And you had to take it. You had to like it. Because after all, they were the police, right? Like that old UK sub song, looks like we're living in a police state. You sure? You absolutely are, actually. So, just so you know, the crux of the American Revolution was predicated on resisting tyranny. It was predicated on giving a high sign to the police and military of the day. That would be King George's roaming bands of redcoats. I mean, good, right? I mean, that's what was really going on. So, just so you know, I mean, that's where we're at. That's where we are here in year of our Lord 2026. So we got to unpack this a little bit because I know most people understand this. I think most listeners of my show understand this because they're not cult members. But in case you don't, let's go into it a little bit, shall we? So here we go. When this whole thing first popped off, I mean, I was seeing the usual smear campaigns of all these people, the cult members, and it was kind of hilarious. So I immediately had a little post and it said, yo, I don't give a flying fig whether old McGinnis here is a Marine, was a Marine, or dressed up like a Marine for Halloween. That's completely irrelevant, folks. I don't give a flying fig if he's the Girl Scouts. Doesn't make a hill of flipping fruit to me, folks. Just in the same way, I don't care if old McGinnis here is married to a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Jedi worshiper, a tree worshiper. It just is completely irrelevant to me what the flip this guy's marital status is, what he used to do, or what he currently does. I just gave you all that exposition in the beginning just to give you the facts. Clear the air. Let's throw all the evidence on the wall and just see what happens, okay? So the real crux of this story is none of that. The crux of this story is old McGinnis there actually had the temerity, the cojones, the huevos, or the nerve to actually stand up against the horse pucky that's going on. That's really what's up, man. That's really what's up. So people want to make it about everything else under the sun, but I'm going to distill it down for you and just say that. So I'm putting aside the usual suspect tribalism that you would find in influencers and just give you the obvious, folks. This should not be a right or left thing. This should be a common blipping sense thing. This should be no more foreign entanglements, saith George Washington in his farewell address. This should be watch out for the military-industrial complex, dice Eisenhower in his farewell address. I mean, this should be what DJT actually ran on for 3 tickets now, which would be no more foreign wars. We're going to bring peace and blah, 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 blah. What a bunch of horse manure, folks. So to me, that is the crux of the story. It's not who he's married to. It's not what he showed up wearing. It's not what he used to be or even what he is. I don't care, folks. The crux of this story is that he actually had the balls to get up there and say, yo, Israel is the reason. I don't want to go to war for Israel. We shouldn't be having people die for Israel. Hello. This is like not even a controversial statement, or at least it shouldn't be. This isn't even anything close to provocateurish statements. This isn't the always nauseatingly overused shouting fire in a crowded theater. No, this is saying we should not be warring for Israel in a not even crowded Senate Armed Forces Committee hearing. I mean, this is the height of B to the S. The height of B to the S, folks. That's what this is. Okay. So let me also cover this base for you, because somebody's going, oh my goodness, I can't believe you're falling for this tomfoolery, John. Okay, here's the realness, folks. Do I think that this was an orchestrated event? Probably. Of course. I sure as believe too. So old Brian here a Green Party candidate in North Carolina. North Carolina would like you to believe that they're a red state. Please don't believe the B to the S, folks. North Carolina is a blue state, purple at best. Because the realness is every city in this state is controlled by the cult of academia, K through 12 indoctrination, college, university, weaponization. That's who runs this stupid state. That's who greases the skids. It ain't Philip Morris. It ain't Big Tobacco. It ain't Cotton. It ain't nothing but the cult of academia that runs this flipping state. So if you take a gander look and otherwise MapQuest search, every single city in this state has got one big thing in common, if not multiple. That'd be universidades, colegios. Sí. They got universities and colleges in every single blipping city in this state, and that's who runs this bleep hole. So that's why every single city in this state is about as blue as the flipping Atlantic Ocean. That's what's up, folks. So everywhere you see a city and everywhere you see a university in this bleep hole, it's a hive of scum and villainy of communist trash. That's the facts, Jack. So if you think the state's ever going to somehow miraculously turn red, then I've got some oceanfront property in Arizona I'd like to sell you. That's the realness, folks. So here we go back to Brian. Was this orchestrated? I would 100% guarantee the facts to be so. Yeah, that's why he wore his uniform to this stupid Senate committee meeting. That's why he stood up and said, we should not be fighting for Israel. Israel's the reason. Yeah, we shouldn't be doing any of that. That's why he did all of it, folks. Of course. I mean, good grief. This isn't like new material, for heaven's sakes. This is what anyone who wants to get attention in the media pretty much does, folks. I cannot think of this cat's name. He says some funny word. The dude is always talking about some big booty Latinas. I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, man. I apologize. Yeah, this is his shtick for like the last 5 years. He shows up at these stupid hearings. He shows up at town meetings and so forth, in retarded costumes and just says outlandish stuff. He gets kicked out. Everybody laughs. The stiff shirts and blue blood Republicans and the communist trash on the left are like wringing their hands and gorking out. And he gets tons of media coverage for that 24 hours or whatever. So, of course, that's what old Brian McGinnis was doing. He wore his Marine Corps dress uniform for that reason, because he knew he could show up in a blipping sweatshirt and jeans and nobody give a flip. He shows up in his dress Marine Corps uniform. He's going to get some attention. And he got it. He got his arm broken for it by that boob Sheehy or whatever his name is. But, yeah, he got his 15 minutes, all right. Is this going to help him in the Green Party representative race in North Carolina? I don't know. It's probably going to give him a lot more press than he was going to get before. Do I think he's going to win anything? No. Because it's not just North Carolina, but the entire political, the politic, I suppose is the right term here. The politic of America is stuck on stupid. They have bought into the two-party duopoly, the inversion of everything George Washington envisioned. Ooh, George Washington, the Mason, and okay. Yes, true. But George got a couple things right, at least, right? He said we shouldn't have a duopoly. There shouldn't be political parties, and we shouldn't go to war with foreign nations. So, duh. So, yeah. The body politic in the United States is stuck on stupid. They're never going to not be stuck on stupid. They're going to keep saying, oh, we're going for the Steelers, or I'm going for the Redskins, or whatever. I mean, that's just the binary opposition, the very simplistic mindset that the American public has, and by and large, the people at large have. So we're not going to see any differences. We're not going to see changes. We're just going to be right, left, right, left. It's that old exploited song, with exploited blarmy army. Right, left, right, whatever it is, So Brian got him some press time out of this thing. He got his arm broken. Great. Old Tim there, he's not going anywhere. He's not going to step down. I mean, that's just what people think is adequate and good at this point in the game. That's what is so hysterical and nauseating. So we got to really unpack some other avenues here. Doggone it. Got to unpack some other avenues here as well, because you got to look at this thing through some different lenses for sure. So I wanted to look at this, and I was going to do a whole separate show on this, and I'm probably going to do one that really goes deeper dive into this whole thing. But I was going to look into a show about the mental gymnastics and have Mary Lou Retton in the red, white, and blue and the whole 9 yards out there, because we need something that's a little visually stirring that might at least, shake up your little snow globe for a minute and get you to go, what? Yeah, because here's what's so hysterical about this whole thing. Because you've got the cult members on the right. The cult members on the right that will just die by the sword, like worship the police and the military at all costs, folks, at all costs. And again, I'm not going to say they're all bad. I'm not going to say they're all good. This is the beauty of life, folks. I've met some great cops. I've met some really lousy, bad cops. I've met some great firemen. I've met some really, really cruddy firemen, folks. And you could fill in the blank with any demographic or institution. Like teachers, I met some great teachers. I've had and met some pretty stinky ones too. Okay. Just the facts, Jack. Fill in the blank with electricians, plumbers, auto mechanics, dog walkers, or what have you. Like people can grasp this with every institution under the sun. But the cult on the right, as soon as you like throw out the most softball question imaginable and happen to glancing below mention the police, military, or what's his favorite term? I freaking makes me want to throw up. First responders. That's the other BS that we've heard since 9/11. You're a first responder, like any of that. And it's mental gymnastics times. You are supposed to fall to your knees and worship. Oh my gracious goodness sakes. Well, again, I'll reference the great Jason Whitlock. He's done so many shows about this idolatry. I mean, let's go to the real deal. Holyfield, Jesus Christ and the Bible talked a hell of a lot about idolatry as being a bad thing, by the way. But make no mistake about it. If you mention any of these people in the cult on the right, I mean, it's mental gymnastics time, and you just better drop to your knees. Drop to your knees like the Muslims do, like in their little prayer cloth and everything, and just like get as low to the ground as you can, because you are never going to be even remotely cool enough to be in the same realm or conversation as those people. And if you say anything at all negative about them, then you are the Antichrist. Or now, if you say anything negative about Trump or any of this mess, then you're automatically a communist, leftist, Democrat. I knew you were, like this is the falderall that is just a buzz on social media now. You say anything remotely questioning Israel, ooh, boy, they're gonna come get you. You say anything remotely negative about DJT, oh my goodness, you're never Trumper. I knew it was, say anything negative, even remotely about anybody that could be construed as a first responder. I mean, if you widen the net wide enough, pun intended, I'm pretty sure dog catchers could be in there too, right? Anyway, so I say all that to say this. The hilarity of this is that we have, it's almost like Rocky IV, but like both people are the Russian. If you're going to understand what I'm saying here in a minute, but it's almost like Rocky IV, where you have two different people that are framed by the media now as being like arch rivals. Oh my goodness. It's the Russian in one corner and Rocky in the other. But here's what's so comical. And here's like the catch-22 that all the Trump cult members are like, cannot compute. The answer is non sequitur. Cannot compute. The answer is non sequitur. Like they can't compute this, and they don't know what to do with it, because we have two people that are allegedly again each other, right? Oh my goodness, Brian got his arm broken by Tim. Oh my, like they're again each other, right? But on the same side, these are both people that are former military. So the right has no idea what to do except to just throw the baby out with the bathwater with Brian McGinnis here, because they can't say, ooh, fall down and worship you, you're military, because Brian was military. Oh, shoot. Darn it. So they automatically just have to disparage his service, I guess, and say he's not up to snuff and he was never really an American. He was married to a Muslim. Oh, my gosh. Like, what the? So that's like the retarded binary opposition that the cult members are in, because they have to simultaneously worship police, military, all first responders as being perhaps the first coming and the second coming, like all rolled into one. I mean, if Jesus showed up right now and he wasn't, like wearing a military outfit or like a police badge, I think people would just be like, man, I guess you're Jesus. I don't know, man, because you don't have on a uniform, bro. Like, I don't think you're really that guy. Anyway, so that's the hilarity, the weird quandary that the cult members are in, because they're like, man, these guys are both military. Wow, what can we possibly do now, man? And then the other quandary is Brian is exercising his freedom of speech, First Amendment. Yeah, you guessed it, Bill of Rights, Constitution. Remember that stuff? And the police and the military, but especially the military, are supposed to, they actually swear an oath to this. This is comedy, right? The military swear an oath to defend this nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and defend the Constitution and Bill of Rights. I'll distill it down for you. So if you're any branch of armed services, unless something's changed recently, like, you have to swear this oath, okay? So Brian here went into whatever this kangaroo court Senate BS was. He wasn't being vulgar. He wasn't in there with prosthetic breasts. He wasn't in there dressed as a transvestite. He came in there, ironically enough, wearing a military dress uniform, and he stood up and he began to speak out against the endless wars that are for our greatest ally. You know what I'm talking, right? So here we got a military veteran exercising his freedom of speech, and he gets his arm broken and swiftly removed by the other saviors of all saviors, the police and a former military guy. Oh my goodness. I mean, this is so much irony and so much does not compute, cannot compute. This is hilarious. It's bad. And it's unfortunate this guy got his arm broken for his free speech, but at the same time, pretty doggone crazy. So if he would have just come in there as like this big fat gay woman with purple hair, like Grimace from flipping McDonald's, then, the right would be like, oh my, well, it's totally justified that they got drug out. And oh my, but he threw a monkey wrench, a proverbial kink in this whole thing, which is pretty genius. I don't know if this was, it was 5G chess, man. I don't know if it was 5G chess and Brian was really thinking that far ahead. I don't know. Or if he had handlers that was thinking this far ahead for him. I don't know. I'm not ruling anything out. Anything that you see on the national stage, I assume is just that, staged, full of horse manure, feces, dung, just complete B to the S. So I'm not saying that this was 100% legitimate, that he didn't have handlers, this wasn't all staged. Bleep sakes, Tim might have been in on it. I mean, this whole thing could have been a WWF event, and Tim and Brian there, they get backstage, they're high-fiving each other. I can't believe they fell for it. They thought my arm was broken. None of this would surprise me. So I'm not suggesting that any of this or all of this it was 100% legitimate or not. I'm just saying, okay, if we take it prima facie, at face value, we got a guy going out there exercising his freedom of speech, and he got his arm broken and got drug out by the police and a military guy. That's what we got to see. So it throws a big wrench in the cult members' plans. I don't know if it does much of anything for the communist trash plans. I mean, like I said before, the communist trash are the communist trash. You can't fix them. You just got to dust the dirt off your sandals and move on. Okay, they're done. They're cooked. Can't come back. Okay. But then I think further, this really fractures the right, which is probably part of the plan too. Because to quote the Bible, I mean, a house divided cannot stand. So, I mean, that's really the crux of every op that we've ever seen in the last 60 years. If you want to go back to the hippie, COINTELPRO, all that BS, all that was just to divide the country, to conquer the country. Cloud and pivot scam. I mean, all of it is divide and conquer. If you look at the real crux of everything that we see, it's divide and conquer. Hegelian dialectic. Everything, if you want to get into Machiavelli and his book, The Prince, it was all about divide and conquer. It was all about how can we orchestrate events, make the general public, the slave class, fall for it, gasp and go, oh my, we need a little help here. And they're always going to say, we need a little help here. And the government's answer for a little help is always more government, more tyranny, less rights, less freedom, a little bit more tightening of the noose around your neck. So that's really what this is all about, folks. So whether or not this is real or imaginary or staged, false flags, preempted, whatever, please know, love, and appreciate that's the crux of the matter at the end of the day. It's just all about less rights for you, more rights for the elites, less rights for the slave class. Hegelian dialectic, for heaven's sakes. If you think Marx wasn't invested in Hegel, you should probably do some reading. If you think neither of them were influenced by Machiavelli and the Prince, you should probably do some reading. So that's the real be-all, end-all of it all. Divide and conquer. Get the slaves scared. They'll start clamoring for more police states, more Palantir, more tyranny, more security at the airports, more armed checkpoints, more body scanners, more getting patted down. And everybody will say, well, it's for your safety. It's 9/11 2.0, folks. So that's exactly what's going down. That's what we're seeing here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, those of you who still identify as human. We're in yet another Middle Eastern conflict. What a shocking surprise. It just happens to be another place that Israel wants to take over and expand their empire. But since they're really about the size of New Hampshire, that's pretty hard to do. Unless you got some big bullies in the neighborhood, just like, yeah, you know how the rest of the rhyme goes, don't you? And that's really the sick part of this whole thing, man. The real sick part of this deal. I think I got some more graphics for you. Let me see here. I got so many graphics, I can't even show them all to you, I tell you. It's crazy. This one, I'll put this gem on the screen for you. Put this little ditty up. I found this to be quite telling. We got the Iran juxtaposed to Israel. Yeah, it's going to be great, right? What the devil, you little salamander head. Oh, my. Yeah, let's just drag it over here. There we go. Getting better now, right? Everything's working just fine until it's not. Anyway, so you got this image on your screen, found this little ditty, and I thought it was quite apropos. So listen up, and here we go. It's juxtaposing these two powerhouses of the Middle East. We've got Iran. No, not the 80s song that was actually good. This one. Iran never attacked a neighbor. Okay, I'll buy it. Signed the NPT. I had to look that one up. The National Transformation Program in the Middle East. Primarily refers to Saudi Arabia's strategic plan launched in 2016. Basically to build diversity in the economy and take things out of the hands of the government, put them in the hands of los gentes, of course. I'm not even going to tell you what I'm saying right now. I'm not going to do it. What else? The IAEA inspections. Iran's like, sure. Okay, cool. Iran, no nuclear weapons. Okay, cool. I guess. The funny thing is, Iran's got all the other weapons under the stinking sun because, in case you forgot, where'd they get them from? Oh, yeah, they got them from us. That's why I was kind of joking earlier. It's like Rocky IV, except it's the Russian versus the Russian, because everything that Iran has, virtually they got from us. Iran-Contra, remember that whole thing? That's great, wasn't it? Oliver North has the gall, the nerve, and just the unmitigated temerity to get up on Fox News and talk about the problems with Iran having all these weapons. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. Oliver blipping North. I mean, come on. It'd be like Pablo Escobar getting up and talking about the drug problem in Mexico and Central America. I'm upset about the drugs problems. Oliver North, I'm upset about Iran's weapons. You mean the one you gave him those? Remember Iran-Contra, Oliver North? Remember that whole thing? Remember you and Reagan and George Bush and the Contras and the Sandinistas? Remember that whole thing? Remember that? Iran-Contra? Yeah, we got all kinds of weapons and we traded them and that was bad. And Reagan couldn't remember anything and you went to jail. And it's crazy. It's just wild. But let's look at the real deal, Holyfield. We got Israel attacks its neighbors repeatedly. Yeah, just no question here. Refuses to sign the NPT. Why would they? No inspections for any weapons. Yeah. And we know for a fact they got 400 nuclear weapons. Isn't that wild? It's so wild, isn't it? So the wild part is that that America selectively decides that certain countries can't have nuclear weapons. So, you know, Kim Jong-il, Kim Jong-un, North Korea, they got nuclear weapons. But I guess it's okay. China, yeah. I'm pretty sure they got one or two. What do you think? If you buy into the nuclear weapon scam, that's a whole nother bottle of B to the S to unpack. But if you believe the nuclear weapon scam, whatever, God bless you. We'll just pretend they're real, like we pretend that we went to the moon. Anyway, so yeah, China, nuclear weapons, North Korea, nuclear weapons, Russia, nuclear weapons. But here's the deal, folks. Here's the way bullies operate. So bullies will selectively pick on people and treat people like dog feces when they know they can get away with it. That's really the deal, folks. So if the bully is out there and he's going to pick on this little kid who doesn't have a big group with him, he's not the captain of the football team, he's not going to be able to take the big bully. So that's who the bully preys on. I mean, you see the same thing with BLM and Antifa and the usual suspect garbage. I mean, that's just what they do, okay? But then the bully's not going to pick on the guy who's in a big group, the guy who's jacked and like twice as big as that guy, the guy who's knowingly can handle business. We'll just say that, okay? That's not who the bully goes after. So the United States being the bully global policeman of all, that's who they're going after. They're not going after freaking China or Russia. Please, we can't even handle Iran, folks, okay? We went into Iran thinking it was Iraq, I guess, or thinking it was Libya or Syria. Not so much, folks. Not so much. It's downright sad. It's pitiful. It's nauseating, revolting, and it's just unspeakably ridiculous. But that's what bullies do, folks. That's what bullies do. And that's the way America has operated for a long, long, long time. This thing is going to drive me completely nuts. Okay, took care of a problem. Just took it out. Anyway, and what really trips me out is I'll draw some more parallels to you because I want to get into this whole bully thing. We could do that on another show. We got a little bit of time on this one, I think, don't we? Let's check the time clock. I don't know. Holy shnikes, we're about to run out of time on this whole gig. It's okay. I got a little bit more talking to do. What really trips me out on this whole bully analogy, and you can look at this through a lot of lenses. I'll look at it through a cultural lens and a generational lens. And I'll pick on the generations that have become persona non grata amongst generational talk, man. The greatest generation. Now, in the last few years, well, were they really that great? Let's B to the S. I don't have a dog in the fight, folks. I just don't care. Whether you want to call them the greatest generation or the Keebler elves. Doesn't mean anything really. But the greatest generation, that would be my grandparents' generation. They were definitely of the ilk. They did not have that bully, braggadocious mentality. And I know somebody's going, yeah, okay. I'm broad brushing for you. Somebody out there's having a heat stroke. Okay, just cool your jets, take a glass of water, just sit down. Okay. So by and large, the people that I've encountered from the quote unquote greatest generation, Keebler elf generation, whatever you want to say, those folks by and large were not a bunch of arrogant pricks. Just weren't. They were more of the mindset of my grandparents. They were men, true men, like my grandfather, a real man, make no mistake about it. He was not the kind of guy that was going to get out there with prosthetic testes on his big F-150, diesel dually bully max, or whatever the F, whatever these people have now. That was not his style, okay? He was a rather quiet and gentle man to a point, okay? Same thing with my father. My father, the boomers, they ruined the way. These people that are just retching over the boomers at every step, but they're going, it was all their fault. The golden badge of victimhood is the American culture right now. It's take no onus nor accountability on anything for yourself. It's the proverbial blame game. Look, they did it, man. It's the whites did it all. The hilarity and like bipolar nature is so comical. So like the black culture, it's all the whites' fault. We have nothing, while simultaneously we were kings. We invented everything, but somehow can't do anything. Which one is it, folks? Come on, which one is it? You got the communist elk. I've got 10 degrees and I'm working at Hardee's. Like this retarded intellect of there's always someone else's fault. Okay. But anyway, to my point here, the boomers, who everybody wants to grind their bones to make their bread, I guess at this point. That was my father. Kind of the same elk as my grandfather. Quiet man, very gentle and kind man, willing to help everybody. He would bend over backwards to help his neighbor, people at church, people in the community. That was who he was. But at the same time, he was nice to a point. And I can say that as being his son. Very kind man to a point. I've been the guy that's caught the ire of my dad and my grandfather when, as my father would say, enough's enough and sometimes it's too much. Like, yo, John, you're in the too much realm. You need to reel it in. If you didn't reel it in, all bets are off. But anyway, flash forward, you had those two generations, and whatever generation we claim to be now, I don't really care. But whatever it is, it's a comedy show, folks. Because you've got all these people out here, and the comedy of comedies is within every subculture, counterculture, microculture, they all look the same, okay? So if you look at the punks, the skinheads, the hippies, the goth kids, like it's everybody wearing the same uniform, acting the same, going by the same standards, listening to the same music. So the people that are ultra uber masculine now, uber mentioned, to quote Hitler, right? Oh, I can't say that. These are the people that are the comedy of comedies 9 times out of 10. They've got the same retarded tattoos. They're somewhat jacked. They've got like the tight affliction shirts on, except now they're not affliction shirts. That was like 20 years ago, whatever it is now. The big diesel dually Duramax with prosthetic testes and a 1776, blah, blah, blah. It's all the same horse pucky, folks. It's like this braggadocious bravado of navel gazing. Rather than just being manly, it's like this big contest to be as manly as possible, which is, it really just becomes a caricature, or as weak and wussy as possible, which is also a caricature. It's back to the binary oppositioning. It's like, it's like you're either Barney Fife or you're whatever, like a cartoon version of Arnold Schwarzenegger. allegedly. It's like so wild. But that's kind of where we are. And I think that really, it links into what I was just talking about, where we went from weren't the country we are today. I'll just say that. I don't know if we were kind and benevolent and loving. I wouldn't go that far, but we were not the global policemen bullies of the world, at least until well after World War II. And that's kind of the throne that we've taken over in the post-World War II era, and everybody will give fact check. Well, it's because Europe was in shambles and everything was bombed and Nagasaki. And yeah. I've heard it all before. I get it. Yeah, we were the only basically allied nation or what have you that didn't suffer like domestic fallout. And I'm not talking the atomic variety. So I get it. It makes sense, right? But what doesn't make sense is this ridiculous moniker that we all seem to have now. It's like, we can do whatever we want. We're America. We're just going to take Venezuela out. We're going to kidnap their leader. Like, what? We're America. We're just going to go into Iran and take out their leader and bomb them to dust. So we have this ridiculous false bravado of like a person, or I guess in this case, Freudian slip. In this case, an entity that's doesn't really exist. So we believe that we are like the United States of the propaganda films of the 80s, 90s, and beyond, where we're like the cock of the hen house. We can do whatever we want. We, like pushing people into lockers and like dumping Jell-O on people in the cafeteria or whatever. So like that's the bravado that I think most people assume that we have. For real. I mean, and we look at the boomers, they for sure think that like Trump can do no wrong. Like, he's John Wayne and Clint Eastwood and Reagan, like all rolled into one, like, so I think in their eyes, they have that myopic mentality that we can do no wrong. Nobody can touch us. We're America, the cock of the hen house. Right. And then on the flip side, you've got like the reality, which is what I mentioned on the previous show, where, Trump's own advisors were like, like we don't have the munitions for 4 weeks of actual conflict. And now clearly we're putting boots on the ground. So, it's Quagmire 2.0. It's Iraq 2.0. It's weapons of mass destruction 2.0. Whatever you want to call it as, that's what it is. And, you have no free speech in America. I've covered this countless times, clip after clip, person after person saying like, if you criticize Israel, we're coming for you. I liken it to Rambo. This time I'm coming for you. So if you dare to speak ill in any way, shape, or form, of our greatest ally, I mean, I'm assuming you could probably be tarred and feathered for that at this point in 2026. I'm pretty sure it's on the books. What's funny? I saw this in the article. I think I pull it up for you. I saw this in the article. I think the first one. I might be wrong. I think it was the article with Tim in it. Dang it. I know very well. I just saw this. Basically, it was shoot. It's all right. Basically, it was in one of the articles that I was trying to show you guys. But it was basically like a little snippet from the rules of the Senate. The rules of the Senate say you can't, speak out of turn. It's like we've got Robert's Rules for Order or whatever the bleep it is, the Senate variety, like the Senate version, which says you can't say anything. Constitution doesn't count here. Bill of Rights be damned. You can't say boo about anything that we say, or we're going to drag you out of here. Yeah. I mean, that's like the funny of all funnies, isn't it, folks? So we've got half the population, the brainwashed masses that think we are living in some sort of bizarro world, Clint Eastwood, John Wayne, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ronald Reagan, like, nobody can stop us. And then you've got the other half of the population that's just so cucked and cowering down. And they're like, they think that, that the white people are the worst people alive and men should be castrated and every kid should be transformed into some sort of tranny. I mean, that's just how foul we are. That's just what's so comical about us. So, I mean, hats off to the people that can actually get up and do a show and not just take it into a comedic realm. I mean, I'm glad that people, like with a serious, like, we're serious. We're going to be real serious. We're going to lower the brow and raise the brow. And we're going to talk in hushed tones. And we're going to talk about how royally screwed we are. We're on the precipice of nuclear war breaking. We're all going to die. You've got those people. I'm just listening. I don't listen to that garbage at all, but I do scour social media a couple times a day, and it just cracks me up, man. It's just comical. That's why I prefaced everything I said with McGinnis and Tim and everybody, like, probably not even real, you know? I mean, I believe, like, I don't even know what percent of the bull jive that gets put all over social media, and which is just mainstream media. Alternative media, same thing. Bought and paid for, controlled opposition. I might believe like 5% of that, you know? What the news services in America, the mainstream, the alternative, the alt-right, all that bull job. I mean, it is Pravda light at this point. If that is probably like full strength Pravda at this point in the game. So anyway, folks, I've gone way over time. So I'm going to close the way I usually close and say thanks for tuning in, folks. Thanks for being a part of this thing. Really mean it. I love the audience out there that's like listening and being a part of the show. Thanks. Check out anomicage.com if you haven't already done so. iPhone app, Android app, all the donation links are all there. As I always say, you can't do everything, but you can do something. Get out there, do your part, make a difference. And I'll be seeing you sooner than later in the Anomic Age.
Thank you for listening to The Anomic Age, a John Age project. For past shows, further info, and to comment, go to anomicage.com. That's ANOMICAGE.com. Till next time, thank you for listening to The Anomic Age.